Hi, good evening. Steve Adler. Got a minute? All right, not a long time tonight. We're going to go through some numbers and some indications. Let's get right to the dashboard that comes from the city. This is the one we look at hospitalizations. You can see that the number 7-day moving average is 37. That's up from 36 yesterday. You can see kind of the graph off to the right. We were headed back down. Looks like we're plateauing a little bit. I'm going to come back and talk about plateaus in just a second. But 36 new admissions, pretty much on top of the 7-day average. 335 cases today. That's up above the 7-day average of 261. But I think that's probably kind of like the Monday anomaly. Numbers usually go down over weekends because it's weekend. You don't get the same kind of reporting. Historically, what we've seen is oftentimes is a number that goes up on Mondays. Might not be anything any more than that. Look at the mint green numbers in the middle. Those are the 7-day running averages for hospitalizations, ICUs, and ventilators. You want to check and make sure that your actual number hopefully is below the 7-day moving average to make sure you're headed in the right direction. 339 7-day moving average for people actually in our hospitals. The orange number up to the left at 36 is new admissions today. The 339 is the total number of people admitted today and before today that are still at the hospital. 339 tonight, that's 7-day running average. Tonight in our hospital is 310. So we're moving in the right direction. ICU 7-day running average 124. Numbers in our ICUs tonight 114. Also in the right direction. 86 is the 7-day running average on ventilators. The actual number of people tonight in our hospitals on ventilators 75. So all those numbers kind of pushing us in the right direction. Now those numbers, hospitalizations, ICUs, ventilators, those don't reflect the behaviors we're doing today or this week. They reflect the behaviors we were doing 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. Those are trailing indicators. So if we were letting up as a community, we would not see it on any of those numbers that are down there in the green. The place we would start to see an indication would be in the white numbers to the right, with new cases going up. Not an exact science because cases vary based on testing results and all that kind of stuff. But that's the first sign and indication that you can see. What we do know is that the infectivity in our community is going down. The last full week we had was about 13-14%. We were up at 18% before that. So that's the number of people who get tested that actually turn out to be positive. It is a higher percentage in our Hispanic, Latinx community. We're continuing to do things to try to drive that number down, and it is coming down. It's still, though, very disproportionate. Let's go ahead and flip to the next dashboard. The next dashboard, we take those new cases of 335, we add it to the old total, and our new number is 21,549. Total number of cases. It's a big number. The number of people that have passed away in orange, 285. That's an increase of 6. That is the last following indicator. After hospitalizations, after ICUs, after ventilators, you have people that pass away. So that's really looking at reflective of conditions that we had 5, 6, maybe more weeks ago. The numbers in green in the middle are the daily numbers that I gave you on hospitalizations and the like. So those are the numbers that we have for today, headed in the right direction. I am concerned because it's kind of in my nature, but my concern would be is that as a community, we drive the number up. We get scared about ICUs, hospitals. We start driving it down, and then people relax. they don't let us drive it down far enough to really take the infectivity level in our community down below 5%, which is what we're trying to do. People kind of relax. Our hospitals don't seem like they're in trouble. And then instead of the number continuing to go down, we get to a plateau. And I'm hopeful that we're not going to get to a plateau. I hope people show the discipline to wear the face covering, worry about groups, make sure you're social distancing. But if we let our foot off the gas, we're going to first plateau, and then the number will go back up again. All right, so let's take a look at the next chart and graph that Anita will pull up into the screen. So this is an interesting deal. This is a service that has thousands and thousands of people across the country that are carrying their cell phones with an ability to be able to take temperatures. And what they do is they monitor the overall temperature of people who are carrying phones and aligned with this deal to see what's happening with the overall temperature in the community. The higher the temperatures get in the community, the more an indication that you might be looking at flu or you could be looking at COVID. It's one of the indicators, the kind of indicators that our modelers look at to find trends. They look at a lot of mobility information. So how many people are out moving around instead of being at home? How many people are going to restaurants instead of just going to kind of grocery stores and the like? But this is the one that monitors temperature. And as I look at the number, you can see that where we are right now we were driving down for the longest time in June, kind of the overall temperature in the city. And now the numbers hit down and it's gone up. Purely anecdotal, not really analytical, but given my nature, that's some concern to me to see that happen. So I wish that number was that gray line was continuing to go down. Let's take a look at the next chart, which I think would be the University of Texas modelers information. This is off of her and the school's website. In the upper left-hand corner, we have the R0 factor. We want it to be 1. We wanted to drive it down as far as we can. And with some of the recent data, it's still significantly below 1, which is great at 0.71. But you'll notice it's a little higher than it may have been at times over the last week. In the middle, the probability that the epidemic is growing is down at 24%, pretty low. But again, earlier in the week, the number was even lower than it is right now. And then you see the graph that has the green dots. That's that same graph. That's the cartoon on the dashboard, but this is the real one, and it shows the projections on the lines off to the left. I'm concerned that people are going to let up in our community. We'll start thinking about having thousands of people at a football game, which still seems like a really bad idea, especially given where we are right now. But it's not just, it's high school football games too. It's any kind of big gathering at this point. We don't have this in a place where we can take big risks, especially if our priorities in this community are being able to open up schools and let more and more kids go into school to protect our teachers and the students. We need to drive down the infectivity. I don't want us taking risks on other things. If we're focused on schools and we're focused on opening up our businesses, we have to do better than plateauing. If we're going to be able to do that, we have to continue to drive the numbers down. All right. Those are our numbers and our indicators. The governor today clarified his statement last week about schools. He said that really the decision about schools and opening and how fast that happens is really up to the local school boards. And he's giving them wide discretion to be able to do whatever they feel is appropriate. And certainly that's an important group. The trustees of the various school districts. Our health officials are talking to the schools and meeting with them and talking about different scenarios. He's giving advice to them. They're considering that advice and asking questions. Ultimately, I hear the governor and the attorney general say that the city and the county and the health authority can't mandate what it is that schools need to do. And I hear that. I don't concede that point. But we don't need to get to the place where we actually have to test that. My hope is that we'll continue to do everything by agreement, everybody by following the science and the data. And Dr. Escott right now is suggesting rules, and I would hope and expect that when he suggests the rules, growing out of the conversations with the school officials, that all our schools will be adopting them. I know that what he's thinking about is having greater and greater participation in schools, fewer and fewer restrictions on social distancing as we move from orange into yellow zone and yellow into blue zone and blue zone into the green zone. But all that's dependent on us not plateauing, but actually continuing to drive down the infection that we have. Remind you, the City of Austin Equity Office is co-hosting a community roundtable. It's this Saturday, August 8th. It's from 10 till noon on Facebook. The topic is a safe and just return to school. The Facebook event link is on my Facebook account, and also we're going to be posting it on Twitter. I want to remind you about the new pop-up testing that's taking place in southeast part of town. It's out at Del Valley Middle School. It's the Texas Military Department testing team. They began testing today. They're running all the way till Sunday, August 16th. Testing hours, it's just walk up. You don't need an appointment. You don't need a doctor. You don't need insurance. You just show up at Del Valley Middle School. Testing is from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The capacity they have is 800 tests a day. When they run out of tests, they run out of tests. So I advise you to go there and get a testing. Again, it's free. You don't need an appointment. You just show up. The head of the World Health Organization today said that while there's great progress in global research for a vaccine for the COVID-19, he said that people should not be living their lives right now expecting a quick end to this pandemic. It'd be great if we had something by the end of the year. It might not be until early next year, but in any event, we have to get the mindset that we're kind of in this place for a while. We need to make peace with that, relax with that, not be anxious about when we can not wear masks anymore. We just have to get into that Zen place of we're wearing masks. And when it's time to take the masks off, we'll all know. We don't know how long that's going to be, the social distancing. We just have to keep it up. Dr. Birx, who is one of the leads for the United States advising the White House, reaffirmed today that the virus right now in our country is more widespread than it has ever been. The CDC today suggested that 20,000 more Americans could die from COVID-19 in the next 21 days. 20,000 people could die in the next 21 days. That's from the Center for Disease Control, the CDC. What it means is we're in here for the long game. This is still serious stuff. We can't relax, and we have to stay focused to help with business and school reopening and keeping people safe. One more thing, I just want to remember that today is the 1 year anniversary of the mass shooting in El Paso. It's important that we recognize and take a moment to remember that. Racially motivated violence anywhere should inspire us all to redouble our efforts against hate. We have the power to make meaning of tragedy if it's something that we want to do and dedicate ourselves to do. And it's that kind of work that I hope and trust the City Council is going to do this week in our discussions about the budget. But in the name of those who lost their lives that day, the fathers and the mothers and the brothers and the sisters and the children that were killed, we need to honor them by advancing the fight against hate and injustice. From the mailbag, this pandemic has affected people's lives and jobs and families. The opportunity to get with one another and to socialize, that has a physical and mental impact and mental health challenge for so many of us, if not all of us, to varying degrees. I recently got an email from an Austinite who had a really creative idea for self-care. This is an email that I got from Rebecca Sorensen, and she wrote, "I sometimes make sidewalk chalk art to take care of my mental health." Here it is. I think it's great. Here's one she said she made to promote wearing a mask. I love this art. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Rebecca, I love that you're using art therapy for your self-help. I am especially excited that you're using it to also message to our community what it needs to be doing to maintain our collective health. So Rebecca, thanks for sharing your art with us. You all be careful. Good night and stay safe.